You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey gang, welcome to episode 234 of the Rusted Robot Podcast for Sunday, February 17th, 2019.
Hi, this is Admiral Adama.
My name's Robert J. Sawyer.
This is Cena Grace.
Hey, this is Stephen Amell.
Hey, this is Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek.
I'm hanging with Sean and
Josh.
They're telling all about general geekery.
And you are listening to the Rusted
Robot
Podcast.
The number one rated robot-related podcast.
Northern Ontario.
You should be following them on Twitter.
Keep listening.
Don't forget to follow them on Twitter.
Subscribe on iTunes.
TheRustedRobot.podbean.com.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
Rusted Robot.
Hey Josh,
Hey, Sean!
how's it going?
Ugh!
Are you tired of winter like I am?
Oh, so tired. I did nothing today but shovel. Nothing.
For your full 8-hour shift?
No more, because when I got home I had to shovel.
Oh yes, so you shoveled at work and then you shoveled at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I trudged through the snow delivering mail, trying to. They were doing snow removal, and there were 3-foot snowbanks in front of some houses, so I couldn't deliver to those places. But it was still tiring and exhausting. And it's been like that all week.
Yeah.
It's been brutal.
I'm done with it.
Me too. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for summer.
Yeah.
This has been another edition of Weathercast. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week. No, just kidding. So, how's it going besides being tired?
Overall, not too bad.
Yeah. That's good. Did you do anything romantic for Valentine's Day that just passed?
So I made Katie a cake.
Nice.
I've done the flowers. I've done There's no point to that, right?
Yeah.
So I try to keep things different. This time I baked her a heart-shaped cake. Chocolate with ground-up cinnamon hearts inside of it for flavoring.
Oh, nice.
Buttercream icing. I made a chocolate arrow to put through the heart.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
You're very romantic.
I had the kids help me, so...
And she liked it?
She did.
Good. What'd she get you? Well, she's been sick, so probably nothing, right?
Nothing. I'm not a materialistic individual.
That's good.
For the most part, I don't ask for things.
Things that make us go.
I like that approach. Actually, on this past week's Soulforge podcast, Tracy and I talked about the commercialization of love and how we're both against it. Well, no, she's not really against it. She loves to be showered with affection. I think any day of the year is a good day to share your love, spread your love, show your love.
So the idea of a single day as the romantic day, there is something about it being manufactured.
It's for the retailers. At the end of that podcast, Soulforge 88, yeah, Soulforge 88, Can't Buy Me Love, I played a little video where they're talking about in the U.S. retailers make $14 billion that day between the chocolates and the candies and the flowers and the jewelry and all the things.
Ridiculously expensive flowers.
Yeah.
So on our anniversary a few years ago, I ordered flowers, and I ordered a dozen roses in white, red, and blue to symbolize how many years we were together,
Okay.
how many years we were married, and how many years we had the children.
Oh, nice.
It was a very nice thing. And then the next year, I ordered flowers on Valentine's Day. Same number of roses.
Okay.
Right? 4 times the price.
Of course, they have to mark it up for that day.
It's like, how can you justify this?
They just can, because you're a captive audience. And if
No. I said, well, never mind then. I'm not going to pay that kind of price.
Oh, you didn't do it.
They're like, well, but it's Valentine's Day. She'll be expecting roses. I'm like, yeah, she might be.
She won't be getting any.
I'll get her some plastic roses.
There you go.
And that's what I did. I got her plastic roses with a heart-shaped cup filled with cinnamon hearts, and that was her present. And she loved it. She loved cinnamon hearts.
Oh, perfect.
After Valentine's Day, I go to the dollar store and I buy all the remaining cinnamon hearts.
Save them for next year.
No, because they won't last.
Okay.
Katie just chows them
Oh,
down.
she just loves them and eats them all year round. Okay.
She eats them by the handful.
Yeah, I don't think I like those things.
1 or 2 at a time. 3, maybe 4 is my maximum.
Yeah.
She'll just like a whole handful.
Well, everybody has their own taste.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of taste, this week I went grocery shopping, went to No Frills, and they had a bunch of Indian snacks. I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to expand my cultural horizons. I'll buy some, because they were like $1 something. So I bought 3 bags of stuff. One was I can't remember the name, Daj Beely or something. And I tried it, and I was like, this is really good. And then it burned my mouth off. So I didn't finish that. And then I opened up the second bag, Tasty Nuts. I'm like, everybody likes some Tasty Nuts. So I popped them in my mouth and burned my face off again. They were tasty, though, but they were hot. And I haven't opened up the third bag. But I don't know if I'm going to finish the first 2 bags because they're hot. And that's not a culture I was raised in, so...
You were bland.
I'm not bland, but that's too hot for me.
Just straight meat and potatoes. The spice you get is a little bit of salt.
No, I like a little bit more spice than that, but not quite as much as I got in the Tasty Nuts. And
I've never been a too spicy fan.
Yeah.
But now I can't have anything spicy.
Right. Health reasons.
Yeah.
Yes. So, right now, as we're recording this, it's Friday evening.
Yeah.
Normally we record Saturday,
We do.
but we can't record tomorrow
Why not?
because the Klingon group, the Crimson Dawn that I'm a part of, we are going to Cochrane tomorrow, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away, to walk in the parade for the Winter Carnival. Yeah. So Cochrane wanted us to come up there, walk in the parade. They're going to feed us afterwards.
All right.
And our gang decided that that's what we're going to do this weekend. And I was like, okay, fine, let's do that. I hate parades. Mostly I hate watching parades. I think being in a parade is okay. I've been in several, so I'm okay with that. It's the standing there freezing and watching them that I don't like. But walking in them is probably all right. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. So that's why we're recording early. So if anything major in pop culture happens tomorrow, well, we won't be talking about it this week.
Yeah. So we'll be off by a week on that.
We will.
Hi, this is Sina Grace, the artist of The Little Depressed Boy, and you are listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast, which, by the way, you should be supporting on all social media and iTunes.
Lots of stuff going on in the world of science.
There's always lots of stuff going on in the world of science.
Yeah, but this is kind of interesting this time. Let me just pull it up here for you. Now, of course, you know that last week we talked about all the environmental stuff, the giraffes and the solar panel paint and all this good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I got more new information to tell you about. We've got transparent solar panels will turn windows into green energy collectors.
Okay.
So I've shared this article here on the Facebook page, and it doesn't actually load fully half the time that I try to get it going, but it does tell me that researchers from Michigan State University developed completely transparent solar panels, which can have numerous applications in architecture and other fields like mobile electronics or the automotive industry. Researchers have tried to create such a device before as well, but the final results were never satisfying. The team focused on the see-through factor, so they developed a transparent luminescent solar concentrator, or TLSC, which can be placed over a clear surface like a window. It can harvest solar energy without affecting the transmittance of light. The technology uses organic molecules which absorb light wavelengths which are not visible to the human eye, such as infrared and ultraviolet. Richard Lunt, the assistant professor of chemical engineering, said, "We can tune these materials to pick up just the ultraviolet and the near-infrared wavelengths that then glow at another wavelength in the infrared. The captured light is transported to the contour of the panel where it is converted to electricity with the help of thin strips of photovoltaic solar cells." So that's what he said. And since the vertical footprint is bigger than the rooftop one, especially in glass towers, these devices could make the most out of the building's facades. They would not affect the architectural design, but will represent a far more efficient technology. Yes, they can also be integrated into old buildings as well.
Makes a lot more sense than the other solar panel things we're talking about, the solar paint.
Yeah, that was a little bit more confusing.
Because that's a fuel cell thing, and got to collecting the fuel from the paint afterwards. It's too much hassle. This makes a lot more sense. There's a lot more energy in the light spectrum that we don't use to see.
Exactly.
We only see in a narrow band. There's a lot more light on either side of that, even taking into consideration what's filtered through the atmosphere. And if these receptors are tuned specifically to the wavelength that's hitting them, because it converts it all to a specific wavelength and transmits that to the edge of the panel, then you can get a lot more efficiency by going by a narrower band. Instead of going, how much energy can I get from the whole spectrum? If you go, I only want to grab energy in this band, and you convert the rest of the light that's not visible into that band, it makes perfect sense to me. You'll get a higher efficiency out of it. Now, we're still going to be less efficient than a dedicated solar panel.
Most likely.
Yeah, because you're allowing some of the energy to pass through, and you're going to lose some in the conversion process. And the total absorption surface area is only going to be as thick as the frame.
Right. But this is still good. It's collecting energy.
Oh, yeah,
It's a renewable resource, which is awesome.
Even a reduction by half,
Yeah.
you get a lot of window space.
Well, yeah, and there's all kinds of skyscrapers everywhere, and it's a good idea.
Yeah, particularly because you can integrate it and other solar panel and wind turbine technologies.
Yes.
So, like, if every surface can be made in some way an energy generator, that reduces your overall energy generation costs.
Reduces the dependency on oil and all the fossil fuels. Well, it will save the planet one window at a time, Josh.
Planet's going to be fine. That's the thing people don't realize.
Yeah, the planet's fine. We're all dead, though.
Yeah, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
Like, the Earth's been through a lot worse. Life has been through a lot worse.
Yeah, it has.
But as a civilization, we're pretty boned if we don't fix it.
Yeah, and soon.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I think they said 10 years?
Something like that.
10 years, and that was last year that they said it, that we have to fix this.
Well, if the indication by the snow and the hot summers is any indication of global warming, there it is, for sure. Like, people have been saying this is the most snow we've gotten in 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
And we get that cold snap, and everybody goes, oh, what happened to global warming? Yeah, it's climate change. The overall temperature has increased, but what they predicted even 30 years ago was the extremes are going to get more extreme.
And they have.
We're going to get colder winters, hotter summers.
Yes.
And overall, the average temperature is going to increase.
Yes. I just finally, this week, actually got around to watching An Inconvenient Truth.
I see you're an early adopter.
Yeah. It took me, that came out in like 2006 or something, and I finally watched it. Of course, it makes me depressed for the future of humanity, but it explains this exact thing very well. Al Gore, he's very eloquent, and he talks all about the extremes of temperature, and he explains it very well. So, have you seen that show?
Yeah, like
15
years ago.
Yeah, I know. I just never came across it, and finally did. So
You never sought it out?
not actively.
Okay.
But I was already an environmentalist at my heart, so I didn't need to see it. It's the people who aren't that need to see it.
I am not an environmentalist in that sense. I am a self-preservationist.
That too. Maybe that's what I mean. But I'm aware of what's going on.
My main concern is I want my civilization to continue and my progeny to continue forward. If that means building an entire dome over the entire country, cool. Let's build a dome.
Whatever works.
Whatever works.
Yeah. You know what doesn't work? Trying to get to Mars. I've got a cool article about that. I was going to do a transition about light and how it comes from space, and you know what else is in space? Mars is in space, and here's an article about Mars. But we kind of went to the Al Gore route, so I'll just read the article, Josh.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that. All right, so Mars One, which offered one-way trips to Mars, declared bankrupt. 200,000 people applied from around the world, and 6 Canadians made the 100-person shortlist. Mars One was a Dutch company that planned to send humans on a one-way trip to Mars and start the first human colony on the Red Planet. It's been declared bankrupt. The declaration was made in a Swiss court on January 15th and posted on Reddit this past weekend, officially dissolving Mars One Venture AG. We are currently working with the administrator and investor to find a solution moving forward, though at this moment, this is all we can share, the company said in an email. The bankruptcy affects the company's commercial arm, Mars One Ventures AG, but does not affect the nonprofit Mars One Foundation. And a press release notes the company is currently working on a solution with an investor. So it's done.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
Business bankrupt and bankrupt are not the same thing. Because you can go business bankrupt,
Yeah.
go, we have absolutely no money, and the next year post record profits.
That's true. The article goes on to say, Mars One began accepting applications in 2013 for a mission to establish a permanent settlement on Mars. It planned to launch a total of 24 people in groups of 4 every 2 years starting in 2024. The company claimed it could do so using existing technology. It estimated launching the first 4 people would cost $6 billion US and said it planned to raise money through broadcasting rights and sponsorships. And more than 200,000 people from 100 countries applied, including 8,000 Canadians.
Yeah. So, like, underwriting the venture privately was the one thing that always gave me pause on that.
Yeah.
Like, doing it privately it's expensive. Space travel is expensive because there's no infrastructure up there set up already.
Right.
Because if you can get infrastructure set up with fuel station relays, you can build a ship that can make round trips instead of just a one-way disposable trip type thing. Once you get the infrastructure built, you can actually start doing space work, start building colonies. But we haven't invested in the infrastructure.
We haven't.
Which is ridiculous. Countries spend, well, most of the United States, hundreds of billions of dollars each year on ridiculous fighting stuff that they don't use, just to say we have it. Okay, if you take half the military budget and slap that into NASA, just half, hell, give me a third of the budget into NASA, you would be surprised what NASA can do. We will be on the moon in no time, building a base.
Hey, speaking of NASA, I've got an article here that just fits right into that, actually. Good transition, Josh. You didn't even know about this article, did you?
No.
Well, let me read it to you. NASA is making plans to send astronauts to the moon again, but this time it wants to keep humans there. That's according to the space agency's administrator, Jim Bridenstine, whatever, who called for the best and brightest of American industry to help design and develop human lunar landers in response to what he says is a clear mandate from Donald Trump and Congress to once again get astronauts out of Earth's orbit. In a post detailing his agency's lofty goals to return astronauts to the moon and one day send them to Mars for the first time in human history, Mr. Bridenstine said that this time the U.S. is playing for keeps. As a lifelong NASA supporter, I am thrilled to be talking once again about landing humans on the moon. But to some, saying we're returning to the moon implies we'll be doing the same thing we did 50 years ago. I want to be clear, that is not our vision. He continued. We are going to the moon with innovative new technologies and systems to explore more locations across the surface than we ever thought possible. This time, when we get to the moon, we will stay. He also said that the ambitious plans will begin next week when partners from private industry and elsewhere have been invited to NASA headquarters to discuss lunar landers. So far, NASA has already contracted with 9 companies to send cargo to the moon, with the ultimate goal being to develop landers that can take astronauts back to the surface of the Earth's satellite. Ultimately, Mr. Bridenstine said the goal to get astronauts back on the moon within the next decade.
Fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
So just what you were talking about.
You need that infrastructure.
Yeah, you do.
Once we have a permanent base on the moon where we can start gathering fuel, once we have a permanent station in space where we can go to and from with our ships going out into the deep space, then we have a system in place. Then we can start doing the crazy stuff people are like, oh, asteroid mining. That kind of stuff can be done. We just have to plan it out.
Yeah, because we have the technology.
We have a lot of the technology.
Yes, to get there, to build it up, and then we could develop more once we're there.
Exactly.
More space news. One final article here. It's sad. It's not a celebrity death, but it could be considered that maybe. The article says, I'm not crying, you're crying. NASA's Mars Opportunity rover is officially dead. And this was announced on the 13th. Today, NASA is expected to officially announce what we've all been suspecting since last summer. NASA's Mars Opportunity rover is officially dead. It's been 8 months since we last heard from Opportunity. That last communication came just as a historical planet-wide dust storm enveloped the rover as it puttered around on the surface of the red planet. NASA's been trying to make contact with the rover ever since it lost contact in June. It sent over 835 recovery commands to Opportunity that have gone unanswered, and according to NASA, the last night marked the final attempt to reach out to the Martian explorer. Yeah, and it just says that it was a historical dust storm, and they haven't heard from it in 8 months, and the last message that they got from the rover was, my battery is low and it's getting very dark.
So, now, some people are like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, if it was me, I'd be very ecstatic to be 100 times my life expectancy.
Right, because it's 15 years that it's been going, designed for 3 months stay.
Yeah, 'cause it was there for a really long time.
It launched in got there in January of 2004.
Yeah. So,
That's a good long time.
Yeah. And, every day beyond those 3 months was bonus.
Yeah. Yep. And its sister rover died in 2010.
Yeah, and it had a wheel issue.
Right, yeah. And it had sent back 125,000 pictures. And this one here sent back 216,000.
Yeah.
So they did good.
I got a fair bit of information out of it.
Yeah.
Curiosity's still puttering, right?
Is that the one that's the size of an SUV?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's got a nuclear engine rather than...
Yeah, and they've got more stuff going in 2020, so yeah, there's no shortage of Mars stuff happening. And if this NASA thing with the moon and the whole stuff comes to pass, then there'll be lots of good stuff coming in the future. Maybe one day we'll get our robot bodies.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan.
Yes.
And eventually I become a nanite swarm and I devour worlds.
Yes, Josh, Destroyer of Worlds.
Yes.
Now is a great time to play a promo for another podcast here on the ESO Network before we transition into other pop culture news.
Dragons do not do well in captivity.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I
Podcast.
And I know things.
Hi, I'm Robin Paris from The Room, and you're listening to We Podcast and We Know Things.
Hello, this is Grant Kirkhope. I'm famous for saying Ubinaka and Ikabokum, and you're listening to We Podcast and We Know Things.
It's more than Nick, okay, man. You're listening to Greg and Sam on the We Podcast and We Know Things, y'all.
And that was a great podcast promo that you picked out this week. I appreciate you doing that for me this time. I'm glad I got to send the link to the emails and the stuff for you. And what should we talk about next? Should we talk about that trailer that we were talking about before we started recording? Why are you looking at me like that? Because I didn't actually send that and I don't know what promo I'm playing? Yeah, that's what it is, right? Yeah, I know. It's been an exhausting week, Josh. Actually, I'm just lazy, man. I just keep forgetting.
I was going to say, a week? A few months?
Yeah, it's been a few months. I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah. All right.
It's not a priority.
That's a promo.
That's a promo.
That's one heck of a promo.
Right? Check out all the podcasts here on the ESO Network.
Yeah.
Especially the Soulforge podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, let's play the trailer that we're going to talk about next, right here.
Tell me a story.
It's a story about journeys.
The journeys we take to prove ourselves.
It's about adventures. It's about potent magic. A magic beyond anything anyone has ever felt before. About what it means to love and to be loved.
About courage.
It's about fellowship.
So Tolkien, what do you think about that?
It looks like it's going to be an interesting biopic.
Yeah.
The little special effects thrown in there, like the explosion from in the war that looks like a face in the flames. All that looks pretty neat. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Comes out May 10th, I think it said?
I think that's what it said, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a theater watch, or...
I'm not one to watch biopics in theaters.
Because it's not a special effects heavy laden blockbuster?
I don't know. Biopics always seem like something you watch at home.
Like a more quiet, intimate kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, it looks interesting, and I want to go see it in the theater, but it's not the kind of movie that I see in theaters.
Well, okay. I can understand that, because, well...
Like, I want to support it, because, like, looks like it's going to be a good movie, but it's not one that I like, none of them I've ever watched in theaters, actually.
No, eh?
No. I enjoy the biopics, but I've never watched them in theaters.
Huh. Okay. Well, just to read a quick description of it here. Tolkien stars Nicholas Hoult as the author of the beloved fantasy series The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The film explores the formative years of the orphaned author as he finds friendship, love, and artistic inspiration among a group of fellow outcasts at school. This takes him into the outbreak of World War I, which threatens to tear the Fellowship apart. All of these experiences would inspire Tolkien to write his famous Middle-earth novels. Looks like it'll be a deep exploration of the man.
Yeah.
And leading up to probably the creation of the novels and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. It stars Cole Meany as well, Chief O'Brien himself.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's in that, and then a bunch of other people that I don't know who they are. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And other things that I'm looking forward to seeing, as a matter of fact. I just came across the article today. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World is finally getting a modern TV adaptation.
Brave New World. Brave New World. I don't remember
No, eh?
No.
Huh. Okay. Aldous Huxley, 1930s, The Doors of Perception, all this kind of stuff. But according to the article, Hollywood's been trying to get a new live-action adaptation of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World off the ground for years, and it's finally about to happen thanks to the USA Network. Today, The Hollywood Reporter says the network announced that Fear the Walking Dead producer David Weiner has signed on to write and showrun the 10-episode-long first season that's set to film in the UK. Black Mirror San Junipero's Owen Harris is attached to direct, and Grant Morrison and Brian Taylor are also attached. Specific details about the series have yet to be announced, but it's likely to be a rather straightforward adaptation of Huxley's classic story about a dystopian future in which society is strictly stratified.
Okay, I know the story now.
Personal decisions about their bodies and emotions are regulated, and a disillusioned psychologist realizes that he's going through life keenly unfulfilled.
Okay, I remember that one now.
It's a classic. Many of us had to read it in high school.
I didn't have to read it in high school.
Me neither. I've never read it.
I have read it.
Okay.
But it's one of those ones that I couldn't remember it from the title.
Ah, okay.
But yeah.
Good book? I think I have it actually at home. I think I bought it from the bookstore because it was in the classic section. You know, when they have like the 2 for $5 or whatever it is. Yeah, I bought it. And I think I started on it, but I just never finished it.
It's good if you take into account when it was written.
Yeah, late 30s, I think. If I
Yeah,
remember.
a lot of the books from that era, you gotta remember this is when it was written. So yeah, there's some things in there that are like just blatantly scientifically wrong.
Well,
but on older works, I've never held that against the older work. Like if the science at the time said X, I won't get mad at you for making a mistake. Where it's now we go, it's not X. Everybody knows it's not X.
Mm-hmm.
I read this one where they were talking about atoms and how they are completely indivisible. And that is the base nature of existence. I'm like, nah,
right.
Quarks.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
But they don't know. So I don't hold it against that work when it is the cutting edge of their knowledge then. And then there's some social things that are kind of like, weird. Why are you doing that?
Well, yeah.
So, yeah.
Could be an interesting series, though.
We'll take a look. We'll see when it gets closer if there's any more relevant news to it.
Yeah.
So, what else we got? We had, we had another trailer. Another trailer we're not going to play because there's not much talk to it. It's Frozen 2.
Actually, I just heard about that on the radio on the way over here.
Yeah, I watched it with my daughter.
Oh, how was it? I didn't see it.
She's like, this looks good. And she's like, it's number 2. Not a direct-to-DVD sequel, proper theatrical release, second movie.
Oh, okay.
So she's excited, which means
You're
prepare for another wave of Frozen stuff.
Another earwormy song?
In all likelihood, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have that. We're going to have new backpacks and lunchboxes and dolls and stickers and coloring books and all the stuff you have to buy because the little girl wants it.
All the merchandise.
Yeah. Like, I enjoyed the original Frozen.
I think I saw it once.
I watched it with my daughter.
Yeah.
It was a really good movie.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But I didn't enjoy having all the Frozen stuff around.
Yeah.
It stuck around for a real long time.
It did.
No wonder it got a sequel.
Well, yeah. Cash cow.
Yeah. You make a few $1 billion on the accessories, you kind of want to make another one.
Pretty much. Keep it in the public consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, last week we were talking about stuff that we watch on Netflix, and you recommended Russian Doll.
Yeah.
Well, I checked it out. I've been trying to binge watch it. I've watched 5 of the 8 episodes.
Uh-huh.
Is it ever really good?
Messed up, right?
Yeah, it's messed up. I like it. I like how it uses several of the people from Orange is the New Black. The main star is one of the girls from that show as well, and then Beatrice, the girlfriend of the other guy, she was in there, and there's probably more. But yeah, I'm digging it, and I tried to watch the whole thing, but it's been a crazy week and keep getting interrupted by stuff. But
really good, right?
It's really good. Yeah, the episodes are like 27 minutes long. There's 8 of them.
That's one sit down. I don't know how you cannot finish that.
Because I keep getting interrupted. Things happen. I have to go out, and people come over, and just life. But yeah, it's good, and I recommend it.
That's only 4 hours. That's one Lord of the Rings film.
Trust me, I know, and I've been trying, and I wanted to get it all finished before I came here to record, but I didn't have a chance because too much was going on. Yeah,
You could have watched it last night.
No, last night was Star Trek Discovery night.
Blank alert. Blank alert.
After that.
After that was bedtime, pretty much.
Sleep. Who needs sleep?
Well, since I've been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning for the last week and a half, I've been a little bit tired. 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 See, I can't even talk because I'm so tired, exhausted, wiped out, worn out, whatever you want to call it, Josh. And the fact that we all here in Ontario got 2 Amber Alerts at 11:30 and 12:30 last night, which woke most of us up out of our slumber, gave us all mild heart attacks.
Yeah, particularly because mine and my wife's came a moment apart.
Oh, they're not even at the exact same
No,
time?
no, they were not in sync. They were just a moment apart.
Okay.
And then I forgot my phone up, my work phone up here, so it woke the kids up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's good that as a society we have this thing so that we can all help each other out, but there was a lot of anger and stuff from all kinds of people on Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and all that stuff because it happened in Peel, which is where's that? Somewhere in Toronto?
Close to Toronto.
Close to Toronto, and that's 8 hours from here, so obviously we can't help. But it's province-wide.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing fundamentally.
I understand the need for it, and I fully support the need for it.
Yes.
But they should do it regionally. So this hits Toronto and surrounding area. Boom. Because it's happening in Peel. You can get anywhere down there in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after a couple hours, if nothing is hit, you go boom, even bigger. You hit all the way up to North Bay. Because you know who can't do anything to help? The guys up in Moose Jaw.
Yes, true.
They get the alert and they're like, well, what am I supposed to do with it?
Right, because that's like 10 hours away.
Yeah.
Or more. I don't even know where Moose Jaw is.
Right up on the bay.
Okay. That's hours from here.
Hours from here.
And we're 8 hours from Toronto.
Exactly.
So,
like, even if somebody jumped on a plane, right away with the kid, just grab the kid and jump on a plane and fly out. You're gonna be a couple hours to get to here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it didn't turn out very well, but it definitely exposed a lot of society's intolerance.
In a way, I wasn't annoyed by getting the Amber Alert.
No, I understand the need for it, but
I was annoyed by the inefficiency of the Amber Alert. I won't be able to do anything. By the time it gets to me, you better have more information in your Amber Alert than you gave us.
Well, what happened was it must have been like, I don't know, 11:45 or something. I was sleeping, and this screeching noise came from my phone, which is beside my bed because I use it for my alarm. And holy crap, mild heart attack. And I hit the button. I didn't read it because I didn't have my glasses on and I couldn't see at that time anyway. It was blurry. But put the phone away, fall back to sleep, just getting back into the nice area where you're finally asleep. And the second one went off. It scared me more than the first one.
So, like, my phone was set to silent, and it still goes off because it's an emergency alert.
Yeah, mine too.
It bypasses that no sound line.
Totally does.
But I read it. You receive an emergency alert. You read the emergency alert.
I didn't read it. I didn't even know what was happening because I was...
What if it said incoming nuclear missiles like it did in Hawaii a couple years ago?
Then I would have died, and I would have been okay because at least I would have been sleeping.
Sean, you got to know so you can prepare.
How am I going to prepare?
Russians are invading.
Okay, I'll make them some tea.
No, you go and you either go to your local militia site.
Do we have one here?
A militia? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the Timmins Armory.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. All right.
That's the whole point of it. It's an armory. It's the city's weapons supply.
I thought it was just where the Air Cadets and the Army Cadets went to train.
Yes, because that's where all the weapons are.
Okay.
That's where the militia meets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do you not know that we have a militia, the Algonquin Regiment?
I've never heard of it. I'm not from here, Josh. And this information...
Most cities have a militia.
Okay. I had no idea. I'm not tuned into that world, I guess.
And what if you get an alert saying that there's a problem with the power system? We're going to lose power, so gather up as much water as you can now before the pumps run out.
Then I would have had no water.
See, this is why you read the alert, so you can get up and go, oh crap, alright, fill up every container I have in my house with all the water. This is why you read the emergency alert.
Well,
it's an emergency.
Okay, but what happened was, I hit the button on my phone to turn it off, and then the thing disappeared from my screen. So, I couldn't see it anyway, even if I tried. And it would have taken me 10 minutes for my eyes to adjust from the sleep mode.
You can't just read your screen?
I can't. I need glasses to read my
Where
phone.
are your glasses? Are they not in arm's reach?
Yeah. But then I would have had to put them on, but the thing was off the screen, so I couldn't. It was a very sad turn of events. Luckily, there was no Russians invading, and the Amber Alert was not for anywhere around here. I am failing in my civic duty as a citizen.
Yeah.
I know.
Like,
I feel shame.
You should.
I should. But at least I didn't become one of those people who called 911 to make a complaint about the alert.
Well, no.
Those people are...
First of all, you don't call local 911 to deal with something that's a provincial thing. You call your...
They were just calling to complain that they got the alert.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, those people are horrible. I didn't do that.
They're wasting police time.
Yes.
They're tying up the emergency line.
Correct.
Which you only call for emergencies.
Yeah.
It's not a complaint line.
Apparently it is.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yes. So luckily there was no Russians invading or Chinese or anything like that. Or whoever we're in an imaginary war with right now.
That's pretty much the Russians.
But I thought the Russians have been replaced by the Chinese.
No.
No?
The Chinese thing has always just been an economic issue.
Ah, okay.
Because they are the manufacturing thing and they're stealing all the jobs away.
Right.
It's an economic war with China.
Yes.
But we're not really in that war because we're kind of good trading partners.
We are good trading partners.
The only reason Russia's a concern is because they really need to get through us to invade the United States.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we're collateral in that way.
Yeah, we're just bystanders. Oopsie.
Really, they wouldn't bother with middle of Ontario. They'd bother with, BC, because they'd come across Alaska and head down south, just shoot straight down, go into Oregon.
And spread it out from there.
Yeah.
Much like Red Dawn.
Yeah.
Hey, so speaking of other kinds of movies and things...
Wolverines!
Well, yes, that's 1984, Patrick Swayze and other people movie. James Cameron is in the news.
Oh, is he planning to make Avatar 17?
Probably. But according to this article, while doing the press rounds for Alita Battle Angel, James Cameron, the film's co-writer and producer, revealed some intriguing new details about the sixth Terminator movie, which he is helping produce. For one, we now know that the tentative title is Terminator Dark Fate.
But there's no fate but what we make.
I know. We also know that long-absent actress Linda Hamilton and her co-stars are taking the franchise in an intriguing new direction. And, quote here, fans are going to want to see her again, and they're going to want to see the real Sarah Connor and what time and dealing with these tragic features has done for her, Cameron told Yahoo Entertainment. It's hardened her even more, but in a way that made her much stronger, maybe less likable, but stronger, and ultimately she becomes a really important character in passing the baton to the new characters that come in. It's a very female-centric film, which I'm glad Tim embraced. The Tim that Cameron's referring to is director Tim Miller of Deadpool fame, who brought an uncompromising vision to the proceedings. Tim's a very willful and opinionated director, and he's got his own ideas for the film, Cameron said. The producer also commented on the importance of this franchise's longtime star, explaining that he had no interest in returning without him. I said, I can't be involved in this film at all if Arnold is not in it. Terminator Dark Fate arrives in theaters on November 1st, 2019.
Alright, so I am leerily optimistic.
So you're looking forward to it?
No, I said leerily.
You're looking forward to it, right?
No.
No.
I'm waiting for more information. Because so far, all we got is female-centric.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Except that is generally code.
Uh-oh.
When they say that, they tend to screw it up.
You think so?
Ghostbusters.
Okay. What else? What else you got?
So, that's always... So anytime they go, ooh, gotta focus on this, it's like, ooh, please don't focus on that to the exclusion of good story.
I don't think they will.
They do that often.
Well...
They try to get their point across instead of focusing on good story. Arnie should not be in it.
You don't think so?
Arnie does not look like Arnie.
Well, he doesn't look like he did in 1984, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not even in 1991.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even in 2003. He was looking a little bit long in the tooth, but he could still pull it off.
Yeah.
Now, 35 years after the first film came out, maybe not.
If he was a regular character, I'd be like, yeah, no problem, go. Lyndall Hamilton, I got no problem with her being in it.
Mm-hmm.
The ageless killing robot machine, kind of have a problem with him.
I'd like to see how they're
punching
going to
out.
bring that in. How are they going to include him? Are they going to make him like a prototype guy? Is it just going to be he's been around for all these years and he's aging, like they did in the Genesis movie? Is it something different? Is he just a totally different character?
And so therein lies the problems, because we haven't had a good Terminator film
Since
in a while.
1991.
So, like, they do not have the trust of other franchises.
Such as?
Oh, I'll go see a Marvel film.
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't matter. Like, they can tell me nothing about it, just saying, this date. Okay, Marvel, I'm there.
March 8th, Captain Marvel.
Huh. So, like, they can earn the trust.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of burn the trust as the movies have gone steadily downhill in quality.
But James Cameron hasn't had anything to do with them since number 2.
Okay.
And he's back in Pog form.
Yeah, that is not encouraging.
I'm going to be in theaters to see it.
Well, no, I will wait until I get more information.
You're going to wait no matter what I say, whether I say it's the best movie in the entire world or it's the worst movie.
Well, I'm going to wait till I have more information, because we don't even have a trailer at this point.
Don't need a trailer.
Yeah, we do.
It's Terminator with Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That doesn't mean anything. Arnold's been in most of them.
Yeah, and it means I'm going to be in the theater to see it. Yeah, I am. It's true. I'm going to go see it. Yep.
Salvation? You think that was worth it?
I don't know if I went to see that in the theater.
Rise of the Machines? Is that worth it?
I don't know if I saw that in the theater. I did see Genesis in the theater, though.
Yeah. They're not worth it, man.
Well, you know what? That I remember being there at the theater for that, and when the title came up on the screen and the thumping music in the theater, and it went right into my chest, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And the movie was downhill from there, but it had some cool scenes.
Yeah, but we know our motto.
Yes, cool scenes do not make a good movie.
No.
That's right.
So, I'll wait until I see more.
Okay.
If you are loving this podcast, you should tell a friend about it.
Spread the word about podcasts you think they would enjoy. There's something for everyone, from entertainment and lifestyle
To news and politics
and more. Share it on social media. Believe it or not, some people don't know how great podcasts are,
or even how to find and listen to them.
You can help change that with a click. Tell your friends about your favorite podcast.
Thanks for spreading the word.
Masters of the Universe movie, filming, start date, and location revealed. The Power Sword will be drawn once more this summer as production on Sony's Masters of the Universe movie begins. Production Weekly reports that the Masters of the Universe movie will begin production in July in Prague. Updated production, is it Prague or is it Prague? It's Prague, right? Schedule and location for Sony's Masters of the Universe from the directing duo Aaron and Adam Neem. Production Weekly tweeted, principal photography is due to get underway mid-July. So that's pretty much all we know. Aaron and Adam replaced Mick G, who left the project in 2017. They've been Sony's been working on bringing it back to the big screen since 2009, and it's gone through a bunch of versions and directors over the years. But now it looks like it's actually going to happen.
So that could be one of two things.
Yeah.
It could be that Sony really wants to get this right, and they don't want to screw it up, and they want a really good story, so that they've been hounding them to get it right for 10 years. Or everybody that's working on it is having a problem with Sony, who keeps messing things up because they want product placement, and you gotta get these action beats. It's gonna be a 4-quadrant movie, and you gotta work on this, and you gotta do that, and you gotta do exactly what we wanted you to do. Now, don't forget, don't compromise your vision. So it might be a problem where it's too much of a garbage fire to work on it for long enough.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We don't know.
Now there's the odds and probabilities do tell us that it's more likely to be a garbage fire than to be good.
Yes.
Because it is Sony.
Right. Sony has a pretty bad track record. But it's live action.
Well, yeah.
But it's based on He-Man, which was a cartoon.
Yes, it was.
We like cartoons.
We do.
Well,
is this an awkward transition?
It is.
Oh, cool.
How awkward was that?
I give it like a 7.
Not bad, then.
On a 4.
Okay. Alex Kurtzman is keeping his word to expand his Star Trek universe to a new generation. Viacom-owned cable network Nickelodeon is near a deal for a new animated series from franchise Captain Kurtzman and Emmy-winning writers Kevin and Dan Hagerman, I guess? I don't know. Well, details are slim. The new animated series would target younger viewers. It will be the first Star Trek series to land at an outside network after CBS TV Studios revived the franchise on its direct-to-consumer platform, CBS All Access. And So we've got Discovery, we've got the Patrick Stewart series, which Sonequa Martin Green recently revealed may actually be called Star Trek Picard.
Okay, that'd be cool.
We've got the Michelle Yeoh led spinoff and the Lower Decks TV series as well. There's other animated things that we're building that are an entirely different perspective and entirely different tone from Lower Decks, Kurtzman told The Hollywood Reporter in January. And what's exciting is not only looking at each animated series as what's the different tone, but what's the different technology we can apply to these things so that they're entirely visually different.
Don't be different for difference sake.
I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're just using different technology for different purposes.
So, I'm leery.
Yeah?
I'm leery of all of it.
I know you are.
They can't decide on a good visual aesthetic. What do you think?
Kitty, you're here.
What do I think about?
Star Trek as a cartoon.
The original one is fun, but very slow.
Well, they're getting a new one for Nickelodeon.
Exciting.
For kids.
Based on the same thing as Discovery.
Not necessarily. It didn't actually say that.
Wouldn't it be funny if they had F-bombs in it?
Yes, that would be hilarious.
And really bad.
Yes.
It will be in the same... It's got to be in the same universe as Discovery, because they don't fully own the rights to the original one because of the breakup of the companies.
But they are in talks for merging again. Those talks are back on.
Why can you not just... They are the couple that does not want to stay together.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But they can't be with anybody else.
Right. Okay, so in other news, you just must have come from your comic book shop.
I have.
Well,
38 Pine Street North, Timmins, Ontario.
What's it called?
Basement of the
101 Mall?
101 Business Complex. It's called Jump City. Jump City. Timmins, Ontario, Canada. It is the coolest comic book shop you will ever go to, ever.
And you sold me comics.
I have.
You sold me the Batman Ninja Turtle crossover comic, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well,
Did you read it yet?
I think so. Yes, I did.
I think so.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe.
Well, according to this article, one of the most delightful crossovers in recent comic history is getting its own feature film. No, it's not the Amalgam Universe. Cool your jets. DC and Warner Brothers are actually moving forward with the Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies in the near future. It says here, I'm having a hard time reading stuff.
You are.
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Because you're tired.
I'm tired, yeah. Anyway, it's going to come out to team up where the four mutant brothers will have a trans-dimensional encounter with Batman in the film, which will lead them to helping him take on his dangerous rogues gallery. And it might come out this spring, apparently.
It's probably going to be great. The comic looked wonderful.
It was very good. I enjoyed it immensely.
So, I find it ironic because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is based on a Marvel product.
Yeah.
So.
The ooze that transformed the Ninja Turtles and many other mutants is the same toxic waste that splashed into the eyes
of Matt Murdock.
Of Matt Murdock.
Yes.
Made him blind.
That's right. Exactly.
And also gave him, kind of beyond normal
powers.
Extrasensory perception.
True. It did.
And that's why they fight the Foot Clan, because he fights the Hand.
Exactly. We talked about this on a previous episode, didn't we?
I think we just talked about it, but not on the episode.
Okay, I can't remember. We've done a lot of pop culture episodes.
We have.
The best
234.
234, that's right. But the best thing about the Rusted Robot podcast is you don't need to listen to any of our backstory if this is your first episode. Because we're always talking about cool stuff. The Rusted Robot podcast has been rigorously tested by leading ear, nose, and throat physicians and audiologists who have unanimously agreed that the sound quality and output in many cases far exceeds that of the more expensive podcasts.
It's true. It's like an Archie's Digest. You can just dive in anywhere and it's going to be fun.
But if you go back and listen to the beginning and start from there, it's like time travel because you
should start somewhere in the 90s.
Yeah, I know, because you joined us at 91.
Well, that and you get to skip the Lonely Shawn episodes.
Although those are some of our viewers or listeners' favorite ones.
Yes. That's why I started the Soulforge podcast, so there could be more Lonely Shawn episodes not related to pop culture.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living, Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on The Soul Forge.
Thank goodness you didn't just call it Lonely Sean.
That might have been better.
Lonely Sean.
The Lonely Sean
The
Chronicles.
podcast.
Yeah. The podcast for losers. Anyway.
And yet you keep asking me to be on it.
Well, yeah. You understand that, right? Ha ha. Anyways, we need to wrap this up. Got another email from Corey, who we got an email from last week.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So here we go.
Hi, Corey.
It says, hey, appreciated the shout out. I clicked the send email icon, which is how you see the email, but it's not a message. That's very important to know because 5 years ago, when I set up the Facebook page for Rusted Robot, one of the options was to have a send email icon. Nobody ever had, and 5 years later, Corey did, and that's how that email came in, which
Woo!
I was confused about how it arrived because nobody had done it, and somebody finally did. And that's Corey, which is awesome. And he goes on to say, yes, I'd do the Soul Forge podcast because I think it'd be fun. Now for Kitty and Josh, the Riffs D&D club at Roland Michener was sanctioned. Pat Bamford, the vice principal at the time, and Mr. Eiley let us have that room for probably 3 years. Never an official club, but I was given keys at lunch with the promise not to break anything.
So it actually went on much longer, Corey. It went on until after I left.
It's true. I was the last member.
Were you?
Uh-huh.
So, and what we meant is we were never officially a club. We did have access to a room, you're right, we did get permission, but we wouldn't sell their dang oranges, so they would never give us official club status.
So we didn't wind up in the yearbook that way.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and there was some teachers had a problem with D&D.
Really?
They said it was satanic.
Oh.
And that they wouldn't allow that in their school.
Oh.
Like, that doesn't mean anything. It's a non-religious school, and this is clearly a game, and your beliefs don't matter to me so long as they don't impinge on anything that is legal or illegal.
Mr. Bamford was always cool, though. He came and let us in every lunch hour.
Mm-hmm. So
we didn't have keys anymore, but he would come and let us in.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. So that is our communication from this week. That's the end of Pop Culture Roundup. We didn't get any responses to your hypothetical from last week about the cosmic horror movie space scenario survival thing.
Yeah, which cosmic horror universe do you think you would want to be in?
That you could survive reasonably well.
Or, not die in the worst way possible? Because in those ones, it's kind of just waiting for the best way to lose it.
Right.
You kind of... Cosmic horror is how good of an end can I get? Because I'm not going to get a good end. I just want to get as good as I can get.
Yeah.
Does Predator count?
Predator is not cosmic horror.
How about the
But
last...
it crosses over with Alien, which is.
No, that's body horror.
What about Last Starfighter?
Alien?
Alien is body horror. It's not cosmic horror.
But it takes place in space.
That doesn't make it cosmic horror.
It's an alien.
Yes.
Last Starfighter has aliens. Does that count?
No, that's just
What about
straight up sci-fi.
Critters? Does Critters count?
No, Critters.
Hellraiser?
Hellraiser is on the very edge of cosmic horror.
What about Event Horizon?
Yes.
Event Horizon is definitely cosmic horror.
That's the worst movie.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I saw that in theaters.
It's just spelled Space Hellraiser.
Oh, I've never seen Hellraiser. But anyway, we haven't gotten any responses, so let's let it go for another week.
Tell me which cosmic horror do you think you would do best in? I really want to know. I really want a response from as many people as we can get.
Soul Forge. No. Rusted Robot. The Rusted Robot at gmail.com.
You can send it to the Soul Forge too, so you can just sit there and sit there and quandary about the existential dread of existence.
Soulforgepodcast at gmail.com. That's right. I can read it on this show too. Just send it to whatever email address.
What are other cosmic horror examples?
Well, you have your classic Cthulhu mythos, all of those guys.
Yeah.
So anything in that vein is cosmic horror.
Does Scooby-Doo count? Because they have some cosmic horror.
So no, because most of that's a guy in a mask.
Most.
We would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. I am not articulate at all.
Nope.
Holy crap, this week has
You are
kicked
too
my butt.
tired.
I am too tired.
Are you sure you're not drunk?
I wish I was, but no, I'm just wiped out from this week.
Ah.
And all my words are mixed up and my thought processes are not good.
It could also be because we're podcasting at the end of the day as opposed to the beginning.
That is true. We did talk about that. It's Friday night instead of Saturday morning. That might be it. I'm not fresh.
Lack of coffee, because you don't want to have coffee just before bed.
Well, no, I had coffee at 7 o'clock this morning, and now, as we're recording, it's 7 o'clock at night. So
It's run out?
Yeah, a long time ago. Especially after the events of today, because it's hard walking.
It is hard walking.
It's hard walking. But anyway, that's the end of the podcast for this week, episode 234, or 234 as we like to call it. It was nice that you could stop by at the end of the show to grace us with your presence.
You're very welcome. I'm aware that the listeners love me.
They do.
As everyone should.
Exactly. And until next time, listeners, thanks for coming by, and remember, my battery is low, and it's getting dark. You have been listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. To contact the show, email therustedrobot@gmail.com or tweet us at therustedrobot. Join the Facebook page and group, and visit the website at therustedrobot.podbean.com. The Rusted Robot Podcast was put together by Sean and Josh and the Rusty crew. Please remember to check out our other show, the Soulforge Podcast. Visit Jump City Comics in the 101 Mall and leave a glowing review in your chosen podcast app. Thank you, and have a geeky day.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
To have positive confirmation of a safe landing.
We're seeing it on the LTP. Very strong on LTP.
Opportunity hit a hole-in-one when she landed. The airbag system rolled into the small crater called Eagle Crater. And when the rover first turned on its cameras, it saw that the rim of the small crater was lined with exposed bedrock.
So we took out our microscope for the first time and we took a picture, and the surface of Mars at that location is littered with an uncountable number of little round things.
That were called blueberries because they looked like blueberries in a muffin. What we discovered was that those are features that form in water, and they were a really definitive sign that there had been liquid water on the surface of Mars sometime in the past.
You know, after we left Eagle Crater, we went to Endurance Crater, and that's the crater we drove down in. And there we did what the geologists call an in-sequence stratigraphic section, which is essentially reading the chapters of the Martian history book in reverse order.
That rover became a stratigrapher. First time you had a stratigrapher on Mars. We knew we wanted to go after Endurance to Victoria.
We put pedal to the metal and we started heading there, tens of kilometers away. We had to literally surf across these dunes of wind-blown material, and the rover got stuck in one of those. We had to get the rover unstuck. What we found is the best way to get it out is just to put it in reverse and gun it. The rover eventually popped out. And so we changed our driving strategy. So we recognized these ripples as hazards. We get to this giant half-mile diameter crater, Victoria Crater, and we want to figure out, gee, how can we go into this thing?
All of a sudden we got high-rise images. We could see the rover in the image.
And that was the very first image that we got from space showing one of our rovers.
We spent a year scouting the edge of that crater to decide where we wanted to go in to get the best stratigraphic section.
We found a place to go in, and we drove down in, and we spent about a year inside Victoria Crater.
The science team was really excited about the idea of driving to Endeavour Crater, over 20 kilometers away. This is a long drive to do. It was going to take multiple years, but they decided to do it anyways.
There were too many of these dangerous ripples in our way, and we actually had to take this circuitous route that at times took us away from the crater, only to then cut back and then approach it more directly.
And then we pull up to Endeavour Crater, and all of a sudden there's all these new things to look at.
We first discovered the homestake vein. It was this very, very bright linear feature. It turns out that it was a big gypsum vein, and we see these gypsum veins now all over. So it was our first taste of what is a really important process on Mars.
We were driving to a valley, and along the way there we realized that right about the point where we were about to get to this valley, that was when we were going to cross the marathon mark. So we said, well, that's cool. We're just going to name this valley after that, call it Marathon Valley. That was when we reached the distance of a marathon, 26.2 miles on another planet. We continued driving through some slopes down a little bit on the interior of the crater rim until we came back out so that we could continue on to the next valley, Perseverance Valley,
where the rover was exploring when we lost contact.
We said we're going to operate this vehicle until the day where we can't, and that's exactly what we did, and I'm really proud.
We've set a foundation that will serve as the basis for future exploration.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.